Good evening and welcome to ATV. I'm Suad Asfiur, your host. Today we have very special guests who we are honored and proud of, the very few intellectual and inventors. We are really proud to have him on our show, especially because of the stereotypes that surrounds our Arab American communities in the United States these days. He is an Arab American inventor who invented a product we only see in science fiction movies. A pair of glasses that allow you to interact and to experience virtual reality, such as opening pages in air, search for documents, make necessary changes on the run while he is interacting with the surrounding. This invention, he called it air glasses or Asfiur glasses. Please welcome with me my special guest, Dr. Soulaiman Itani. Dr. Soulaiman Itani, welcome to the show and thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Suad. Thank you for inviting me. Happy to be here.
You're very welcome. We'd like to know a little bit more about your background, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. So actually, my family has been in Beirut for 900 years.
Wow.
So we're a very Beiruti family. I was born in the middle of the civil war in Lebanon.
Okay.
And so that was a very defining time.
Yes.
Right, Beirut was in a horrible state. We frequently missed school.
Oh yeah.
Because like somebody was killing people on the way.
Yeah, the situation
So
wasn't
it was,
stable that time.
Yeah. So the first 7 years, 8 years of my life, the good thing is that when you're young, in a way, you can deal with those things.
Yes.
And I'm very blessed. My parents made sure that we have a calm environment independently of anything.
That's great.
But within that,
Uh-huh.
the number one priority was education. Like, if you're alive, go study.
That's good.
Nothing else matters. That's
Nothing
it.
gets
You're
in the way.
alive, go study.
Gotta do it.
And so that really pushed us well. We're very lucky. So I did my undergrad in Lebanon, still at AUB, in electrical engineering, computer science.
Wow.
So pretty standard story for Silicon Valley. Right, everybody does that here. And then I directly came to MIT for my master's and PhD.
Yes.
I was there for 4.5 years. I worked on unmanned aerial vehicles, so drones.
Okay.
And actually, at some point, me and a bunch of friends there, were thinking of starting a company for deliveries using drones.
Wow.
And we didn't do it because, for regulation purposes and stuff like that. But also, it was me, I'm an Arab, there was a Turkish guy and an Afghani guy, and we didn't want to fly stuff over Boston, right?
Yes.
We wanted to be careful and just avoid anything that's close to trouble. But that was a great time. And, a couple of years ago, Amazon suggested that they're thinking about doing something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like the idea had some merit. I straight from after I got my PhD, I moved here because I saw this professor. She's really amazing.
Yes.
Her name is Claire Tomlin, and
Okay.
she was a professor at both Berkeley and Stanford.
Okay.
And she was applying engineering to biology, and she's stellar. And so I really wanted to work with her, and so I came to the West Coast. And I worked for 2.5 years on cancer research, mainly creating models of how cancer cells behave versus how healthy cells behave. And based on those models, designing treatments that kill cancer cells without killing healthy cells.
Okay.
And we were able, actually, we have a couple of patents with Berkeley to increase the death rate of cancer from 11% to 51%.
Wow.
For the same toxicity to the mouse. This was in mice. It takes a while to translate these things to people. Mm-hmm. And that was super exciting. And during the last stage of my postdoc, I started working on what became Asfiur.
Okay.
And the way it came is, initially I wanted to just create a phone that can project a keyboard and a screen so that you can just use your phone instead of carrying a laptop and a tablet and a phone. You just use your phone, it's tiny, it fits in your pocket, you have the mobility of the phone and the richness of a computer, or even at some point maybe a large screen TV. And I started researching that, and I found that I created some patents on how to recognize what my hands are doing.
Okay.
But there was the other challenge with the projection. It required a lot of power. And that's when I started thinking that instead of projecting a large screen in the middle of the air, I can project a very small screen closer to the user's eyes. And so I would need much less power because I'm drawing a much smaller image.
Okay.
And that's how the idea of Asfiur glasses started. This was before Google Glass and VR. There wasn't this much of a fuss about it. But yeah, I started it, raised a bunch of money, and things have just been going so quickly since then. It's like a whirlwind.
That's great. You look like you've been busy and you came a long way. So now can you explain to our viewers what's your invention that's on the table right there?
Yeah, so actually this is our Asfiur glasses, the product. We had a developer kit before that we released to the public, and it has two parts. One part is the processing unit, and this is basically a cell phone.
Oh.
It has a mobile processor that is there in cell phones. It has a larger battery because we're selling to the enterprise, and people want heavy usage for a long, long time. But it has, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all of the stuff that you're used to have in your cell phone. And then there are the glasses on the other side. And again, they're ruggedized and they look like work goggles because they are. Because we're making them for the enterprise, for people on the field, fixing airplanes or nuclear reactors or ductors.
Wow.
And so you want them to, that's where they're rubberized and ruggedized so that they can take some shocks and they're sturdy. And basically here there are two displays. Each one of them is HD resolution in the glasses. And there are two stereo cameras that you can use similar to the cameras on your phone. But there's also this piece here, which is a depth sensor. And it knows the distance to everything that's in front of me.
Wow.
And this system, the depth sensor mainly, we use it to know where the user's hand is. So the displays show the user a tablet. And you put them on, you'll see a tablet. And then the depth sensor knows where your hand is and what you're trying to touch, what you're trying to turn, what you're trying to swipe. And we make that happen. So you see an icon, you click it, we know what you try to click, and it just happens.
This is amazing. Is it very light in weight or is it heavy?
So we have models that are about 100 grams.
Okay.
So that's kind of the weight. And in a few years, they will be very close to the weight of regular glasses.
Okay.
If you remember the oldest cell phones, they used to be huge and didn't have much battery life and stuff like that. And they sold them to the enterprise because they needed the people where it really made a difference. And this is the case here. We're starting with something that will change the world, we believe. And many people agree. Many big companies, they see this as the future. But when you're starting, the technology isn't optimized. It's not polished. And so it's better suited for the enterprise at that time.
That's great. That's beautiful. I just have a question about the name. I know that AIR stands for Augmented Interactive Reality. And at the same time, the word Asfiur in Arabic means air. As Fairuz said, شربت العمر خمرا في كؤوس من أثير.
Yes.
Do you know that? So when you were thinking about giving a name to your invention, did it cross your mind that these two words are the basic for glass air or air glasses?
Yeah.
Is it
choosing a name is very hard. It's not one of the things that I'm good at, I guess. So I really struggled with it. Asfiur, it's in Arabic, it's also in Latin and in several of the older languages. And it means, like you said, air or light or this matter they call it ether, that is all around us, all everywhere. And the idea was that we're taking the digital world, currently the internet, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and everything is behind these panels of glass. It's always on the other side in some world. We get these windows where we can peek into that world. But these devices, these new systems, take the internet from behind those boxes and put it in the ether all around us. So it brings the digital world and put it all around us. That's why I called it Asfiur.
Wow.
So it puts the information in the ether.
That's good thinking.
Thank you.
So how do you compare your glasses Asfiur to other augmented and virtual reality glasses such as Google glasses or Microsoft or Oculus
Wonderful.
glasses? How do you compare them?
Wonderful. I see you've done your research. And I'll take this back also to when PCs started and when cell phones started. If you remember, at some point, you had all of these versions of cell phones. Some of them flipped, some of them slid, some of them were very thin, some of them were like a banana or whatever. And there were these different varieties. And suddenly, starting with the iPhone actually, people decided that yes, this is the form factor, this is the right experience that we want to have.
Right.
And all of the phones started becoming more and more similar.
Right.
And actually a similar thing happened to PCs. If you go to the Computer History Museum, there are these mice where it's a large ball and you roll it with your hand. There are these keyboards that are caved in and stuff like that. So when a new way of thinking about the digital world comes up, different people have different angles towards it. So we are going, and then after a while they agree on the best solution.
Yes.
So the angle that we're coming with, which is actually now Microsoft with the HoloLens is coming with something similar, is that we want to give the user a large experience. You put in the glasses and it's like you have a large computer in front of you. You can touch it, you can do everything that you're used to. Google Glass went for something very different. They said, we want something as unintrusive as possible. We want it to be very, very small, to give you small pieces of information just when you need them. It's a very valid idea, right? It's because they didn't want to obstruct the person. They wanted to easily integrate into your life, right? So they came at it from a very different angle. Oculus, they said, the world starts with gaming. Let's start with these gamers. We give them large glasses and they are VR, so they block your view. So if I wear Oculus glasses, I will not be able to see you.
Okay.
If you wear Asfiur or HoloLens or Google Glass, I would still be able to see you. So they said, who needs the real world for gamers? They're sitting on the couch and playing the game anyway. So we can put this, and it gives them an experience much bigger than any TV.
Wow.
And they can see the whole game all around them.
Ooh.
So they went for something very different. It has more power, it needs a larger computer and stuff like that. But that doesn't matter because the guy or the girl are in their living room, right? That's where they play video games.
Yes.
They're not walking on the street putting this thing on. And so each one came at a different angle. And over the next few years, what will happen is that all of these views will get integrated. They will gain ideas from each other and start getting better and better until we have something that is small, sleek, and just takes the next generation of computing. We'll have our computers in these glasses.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Thank you.
So tell us, Dr. Soulaiman, who mostly benefit out of your invention?
Great question again. So like I mentioned, we're starting with the enterprise, and we identified professionals, so people in the enterprise who have basically two needs. One is that they're out there in the field, they're working physically. You can think people, like I mentioned two examples, repairing airplanes or nuclear power plants. There are the people you know, somebody like AT&T or Verizon, they have all of these towers to for the communication, and there are people who climb up those towers, and they take a laptop with them on those you know, on the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And those people who need a lot of information and they need to be there in the field are our target market. We call them FAST professionals. FAST stands for fix, assemble, survey, and treat. So from everyone from insurance companies, field engineers, and doctors.
Basically general public and engineers
exactly.
and doctors.
So it starts with the enterprise, and then as everything gets optimized, it gets more towards consumer and more closer to fashion.
Wow, that's great. I was checking out your profile, and I noticed you mentioned that you like to surround yourself by individuals who are much smarter than you.
Yes.
Did you say that?
I did say that.
And I think that statement will raise some question in some people's mind that you just introduced the product, not invented, and you are the inventor here. We know that. You know, the same thinking that Steve Jobs was surrounded by smart individual, right? Are you familiar with Steve's? I'm sure everybody knows him. And he surrounded himself and who invented and designed the iPhone, the iPad, and the iMac. And Steve just introduced these products.
Yes.
What's your answer to these people?
That
you surround yourself, just like
yes.
what he did. But you are, in my opinion, you are a bigger inventor than Steve Jobs.
It's very different. It's very different. I'm not sure I'm a bigger inventor than Steve Jobs. Yeah, that would be a very big ego for me to say that. But thank you. So, you know, the world is changing bit by bit.
Yes, I agree.
It used to be that the people who had the money, the rich people, they hire everybody else, and everybody from the workers in the field to the people making the clothes, to the inventors, to the doctors, just work for them. With time and technology and democracy and democratizing information, the fact that everybody is getting the information, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be top down. And that's why recently, more and more recently, you see more people who are actually technical, who start actually doing the thing and inventing it, rising to take the company to large scale. So Steve Jobs is a bit of an older example. He had a co-founder, Steve Wozniak, who is also very famous, who was the technical side, and Steve Jobs was all about the marketing and the business side. But if you look a bit later, if you look at Google and Facebook and even Snapchat, so the newer generation, it's becoming more and more that the people who actually do the work are the people who take it the distance. Mm-hmm. And so that's one side, is that it's becoming more flat. There are more opportunities for people who actually do the physical world, the physical work. To go and make it big, while that was harder a while ago. The other side about surrounding yourself with smarter people, I think that there's this example, it's a very nice video, you can look it up, asking if there's anyone in the world who can make a pencil. And he looks at the particular pencil in his hand, and the wood comes from one continent, the carbon comes from one continent, the eraser comes from a different factory and stuff like that, the metal that holds everything, the paint, and you have these thousands of people who have indirectly worked together to make a pencil. So I use that example to say anything that is worth building these days, one person cannot build.
Right.
You have to have a large team. You have to have a team of very smart people. And like they say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So
Right, right. So you came a long way, and I'm sure there's a lot of challenges you face along the way. So tell us about some of your challenges you've been through.
there are a ton of challenges. Uh, I've been lucky in many ways. I've been lucky in
Sounds
many
like
ways.
it.
Yes, yes, and I fully mean that. By the way, even scientifically, people underestimate how much luck plays a role.
Oh, yes.
Luck plays a huge, huge role
Right.
in every story. So I've been lucky
With the right state of mind.
with the right state of mind, with the coincidences. I mean,
With the opportunities.
with the opportunities, with the
Knowledge.
parents who encourage you to study, right?
Yes.
Even if you were poor, in a third world country in a civil war, getting the parents that encourage you to study and to push towards education, that is luck. Having the right teachers, the right friends, the right opportunities to get feedback on the things you did right, all of that is luck, and I'm very thankful for that.
In real estate, they used to say luck happens when opportunity meets preparation.
Exactly. So that is true. Luck doesn't guarantee anything will happen.
You gotta be prepared.
You have to still work very, very hard. You work very hard and you get lucky. That's how you can move forward. The challenges usually, is for me, one thing that I do is that I move from world to world. So I came from Lebanon to here. That was one shift. I moved from working with with drones and unmanned aerial vehicles to cancer research, and then to augmented reality. And I moved from academia. This is my first job. Before that, I just studied and was doing my PhD and postdoc. I was in universities all the time. To a business world. And when you make those jumps, there's always in the beginning some hesitation because you're an outsider. And
Yes.
It's like, oh, yeah, this is a college kid. What does he know about how business really works?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Right.
There's always, if you change jobs, I'm sure you've tried a bunch of stuff. You mentioned real estate.
Yes.
So you're entrepreneurial also. And you must have seen something like that. People doubt you, right, in the beginning. And so that's the very first hurdle you get to. Usually I'm excited by that because for me, it means if they underestimate me, that's only an opportunity for me to shine even better.
More motivation.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just do better and I'll show
Yes.
them. So that excites me.
That's challenge by itself,
That-
right there.
Yes. The next thing, which is very, very important and is a very hard balance to keep, is between achieving your goals right now and growing so that you achieve your goals in the future. So if everybody reaches plateaus. So you have a certain set of abilities, certain intelligence, certain knowledge, certain talents. And with the luck, those take you a certain distance. But then you hit the wall of those abilities. And usually what happens is that people either give up or they need to shake something. They need to restart, move a career, learn something new, do something big.
Right.
But there is a third side, which is before you hit your wall, you start developing other abilities that will allow you to move further and further.
Wow.
So you shouldn't, the idea is that we shouldn't wait to hit our full potential before we start thinking about the next steps.
Okay.
But that means you have to invest instead of just focusing on what are the problems that I can solve right now and how can I solve them. You're thinking also, what problems will I have in the future? And what do I need to learn now so that I can avoid those problems or solve them as efficiently as possible when they happen?
Mm-hmm.
And that just gives you like 3 jobs.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
That's a lot of eye-opening too. Well, unfortunately, our time is running out. We would like to hear more about your invention. Hopefully, we'll know more about your success in the future. We'll have you again. But for now, we have to end this episode.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank
This
you
was
so
great.
much for coming. And it's great. Good luck to you. Wish
Thank
the
you,
best.
and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. We are really proud of Dr. Itani. We wish him all success. Hopefully, in the near future, we will be hearing more about his success. And for you, my dear viewers, thank you for watching. See you again next week. I'm Suad Asfiur. Good night.